Thanks, Cathaoirleach. Minister, this question is in relation to the 18 million capital funding that was announced recently. And I know it has a precondition that providers agree into a predefined fee cap. I'm just wondering if we can get some more information on that and just exactly how it will sort of all pan out. And if you can just, I suppose, particularly given the high number of services that applied last year and were not successful, so we can just get some more information and clarity. Thanks, Minister.
Thanks very much, Deputy. So last week I was very pleased to announce an €18 million capital grant scheme for the early learning and childcare sector, and the Building Blocks Capacity Expansion Grant Scheme, which that is part of the wider Building Blocks capital programme for this sector under the National Development Plan. So the scheme will provide capital grants for early learning and childcare services to expand their existing capacity by means of internal renovations and reconfigurations. So the primary focus of the scheme is to increase capacity in the 1 to 3 years range pre-ECCE, and particularly whether it's for full-time or for part-time care. So a key feature of this scheme is the application of a maximum fee threshold for early learning and childcare services that wish to apply for the funding. And the simple reason behind this, Deputy, is to ensure that when state capital investment is provided, it doesn't result in the delivery of childcare places that are unaffordable to parents. So my department has set a weekly maximum fee for full-day and part-time services. And if the services currently charges above these rates, then they're ineligible for the capital funding. So applicants are required to confirm that the fees that they charge on the 3rd of April of 2024 for places do not exceed the maximum fee threshold for the relevant care type. So the maximum fee threshold for full-time care has been set at €295 per week, while the maximum fee threshold for part-time care has been set at €190 per week. So training has been made available for providers to assist them in understanding the scheme, and Pubble's Early Years Provider Centre is available to respond to queries about the application process, and the City and County Childcare Committees have been trained in the scheme, and they can provide additional support and advice to any provider considering applying. So the closing date for applications for these new capital funds is the 3rd of April. And I've no doubt that all deputies will have services in their area that will be very interested in this new funding.
Thanks, Minister. There's a lot of information in that. I welcome the fact that it is specifically in relation to expanding capacity for the baby rooms, the 6 months, 3 years, because that continues to be a major issue in terms of actually trying to access spaces. Has there been any, I suppose, analysis done of what the 18 million might actually translate in terms of places? That mightn't have been done, but just if it has been. And then in relation to the fee caps, I understand the rationale behind that. Is that the same as core funding? So let's say you're a service and you're maybe in core funding, and now you decide you're going to expand to add like a baby room or an additional baby room. Are you already in a fee cap with core funding? Is it kind of the same type of a system, or can we just get some information in relation to that? And then I'll come back in the last minute as well. Thanks.
Slightly separate to core funding. This is when you apply, you have to basically state if your weekly fee for full-time or part-time are above the two figures that I cited there, and if they are, you're ineligible to apply. We estimate about 3% of services have weekly fees that are above those two numbers that I applied there. So it is a very small number. And look, it's a balance here. We do want to increase capacity, but if we're increasing capacity in services, which is rates that we believe are generally unaffordable, that's probably not the best investment of state money. Just to say that this the capital programme is available to both community services and private services. Community services can apply for the full cost up to €100,000. For private services, it's match funding, so they can apply for up to €50,000 and seek the extra €50,000 from as match funding. So again, I think it's important maybe providing additional supports to those community services, which are often the ones maybe in areas of higher disadvantage, but at the same time recognising that significant investment can be a struggle for private services as well, and looking to go 50-50 with them in terms of providing that.
Thanks again. Just two more points I want to make on it. First of all, we recently got a reply back from a PQ in relation to funding, what funding was available for construction of new purpose-built early learning and childcare facilities, and that actually said that there wasn't any funding. So is this, maybe this isn't considered new funding because it's for existing services? So just if you could maybe clarify that. And then in relation to like general works, potentially retrofitting, which we're trying to encourage all places to do, or upgrades, basic things that happen. This is obviously separate. This is separate from the building blocks funding that people can apply for in relation to upgrade works. Is that correct? I just want to get clarity on those 2 points. Thanks.
Deputy, so building blocks was in 3 kind of parts. The first part for last year, the grants available were for those upgrades, and we had 9 million available last year for upgrades. This year, our focus is on expansion of existing services. So the grants available this year are to expand existing services, and we've 18 million for that. Next year in 2025, the grants available will be for new services, I don't have the final line of sight of that, but I think that will be in excess of 20 million euro. So we're kind of looking at it in steps. The first step was upgrade, second step was expansion, third step is funding for brand new services. And we've, I suppose that's the biggest piece in supporting brand new services, particularly community services. So we're doing a little bit of work, particularly in terms of identifying areas of greatest need, because there will be a criteria there, particularly for new services, in looking to support areas where there is significant pressure on existing services.